Details about the arrests of several people at the state capitol today amid debate over a controversial piece of legislation. There were several incidents leading to 6 arrests. This one caught on security camera at the state capitol there. The state patrol says a woman identified as 33-year-old Sarah Crawford of Lincoln pushes through a crowd toward troopers and punches one in the chest. Now, at that time, troopers were also arresting 40-year-old Benjamin Burris of Lincoln for resisting arrest and trespassing. The disturbances began about 45 minutes prior to that when the state patrols say people in the opponent balcony of the state chamber began yelling and throwing objects onto the legislative floor. Lucia Salinas and Maggie Miller Jenkins were arrested for obstructing a government operation and disturbing the peace. Speaker Arch then called for the clearing of both balconies. NSP says Marlee of Lincoln and Dana Severs of Seward were arrested for refusing to leave. In all, 6 people were booked into Lancaster County Jail for today's incidents. Now,